Welcome, Kijuan Amey. It's a pleasure. And I honestly just wanted to start out. You reached out to me, and I'm just curious. I'm curious what your system is for outreach, since I do outreach too to get guests. So I always like to start with the common ground, and that's how we got to know each other. So So what led you to reaching out, and do you have like a system? Do you have a process for reaching out to people efficiently, systematically?
Yeah, so currently I have a team that does it for me because I'm 100% visually impaired, and then trying to go find each and every podcast that I've spoken on, geez, man, in like a month. These guys are, amazing, first and foremost, as far as their level of efficiency and getting me seen and heard via email, because that's the only means of communication that I'm making. I'm not going social media route. I'm not face-to-face calling. No, it's only email. And when I tell you, I'm sure booked over 40, 50 podcasts now in just like under a month. And these are all confirmed interviews. You know what I mean? It's so interesting. And this company is called Pod Pitch Podcasting, I believe. But they do all the heavy work for me. But all I do, I guess you could say, is tell them what I'm looking for. So, everything that I'm looking for, it relates to me. So it's relevant to me, like resilience, motivation, inspiration, military. You got keynote speaking, you got music, you got mental health, all these different things, PTSD, traumatic brain injury, all these different things, disabilities, I connect to. And so I'm trying to, or they, shall I say, use those keywords and use, I gave them a couple of different countries that I would like to speak to. And I feel like they've expanded that or something, because I just spoke with somebody in Japan and I did not tell them anything about Japan. I did not tell them anything about Australia. I did not tell them anything about New Zealand. And I've spoken to people in those places now. So I guess it's just spreading now like wildfire. So it's awesome, though. I'm okay with it. I have no problems with it whatsoever, man. And I love the outreach that's going on.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my podcast, since I'm sure you did some research, but it sounds like you got a lot on your plate. So this is the Quality Values Podcast. The core question is, what are your values in the context of your story? And the reason I went with that is since I wanted to be able to talk with anyone from any walk of life. So I wanted a broad question that applied to everyone, but something specific enough to give a guide to each conversation. So I'll start by trying to understand your story. It seems like you got a lot of moving parts here, just on the topics that you ran through right there. And as we go, and I sense your values coming through, I'll try to dig in deeper and kind of understand what your underlying motivations are, what your drivers are, what impact you want to make, that kind of stuff, the whys, behind everything you do.
Right.
So yeah, you served in the military, correct?
Correct.
Can you just give me the brief context of what was your experience there? What's the story of your military time?
Yeah, so a decade of time logged in the military, really only being able to physically be able to serve 6.5 years, because I would have a motorcycle accident that changed everything. But we'll get to that, I'm sure. But while I was in the United States Air Force, first and foremost. And I would be an in-flight refueling specialist. And what that means is I refuel planes in midair.
That's crazy.
So, you know how you go to the gas station when you're driving your car? Yeah. Well, there are planes military planes, not commercial. There are planes that pull up to a flying gas station in the sky.
Wow.
And we coordinate, of course, all this stuff on the ground. Sometimes there are emergencies that we have to do this stuff in the air. And I've been a part of that maybe once or twice when I was deployed. That's usually where that stuff happens. And so when I tell you there's nothing like it, like I had the coolest job in the military. I don't care what all these, hey, okay, you special forces guys, kudos to you. But I don't plan on kicking in any doors. Okay. I don't even want to kick in the door here. Okay. So I definitely don't want to go kick on the door at another country that's somebody's probably got a gun or an explosive device, when I kick it in. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I definitely, well, hats off to them first and foremost, because I love that movie, American Sniper. But another thing is, I just loved what it did. It was so cool, man. You're refueling fighters, bombers, cargo planes, reconnaissance planes, even the other tankers that could be refueled. Because my plane was a tanker. That's what we call it. Not like a tank, but a tanker, like you would carry gas in on the ground. We consider that a tanker. So the same thing, but in an airplane format. It didn't look round and bubbly like one that you see on the ground, but it was like, so mine was the KC-135, which is basically a Boeing 707, but they modified it so much that they had to change what the actual series of it was. It ended up being a 717. They changed it so much. And it's funny because a lot of people don't know that they don't read the book as much as I do. But it's just one of those things where you do this job not just because it's cool, not just because you learned something, that was difficult, because it's very difficult. It's not an easy task at all. You got to be very precise, very accurate, all while talking and communicating both outside of the plane and inside with your own pilots, all simultaneously. This is happening all at once. And so when you're doing this, it's not just to be cool, man. It's to say that I'm serving my country in more ways than one, because I can do the air refueling on that plane. I can load cargo and carry it around the world. I can even take passengers, whether that's, military members, their families, or just troops getting in and out of, different deployed environments, or even here stateside, getting out of different areas stateside. We're doing that. We're doing aero medevac missions, which is basically moving patients from one area to another. Different things like that. It's so cool, the things that I was capable of doing in the military. So,
Yeah, that sounds fun. Sounds like an action-packed job.
yeah.
And it sounds like something you loved.
Yes.
That kind of takes me to you mentioned the motorcycle accident. Was that the end of the run as the Air Force guy?
Yeah. It was the end of my air refueling days. I have since pivoted to the retired Air Force guy that still does some things with the Air Force. And what I do now is I'm an ambassador for the Air Force Wounded Warriors program, and I'm also a mentor in that program as well. So I still work with the Air Force, but in a different perspective. I mean, I'm not getting paid at all. So if anybody thinking I'm still getting paid, no, this is me providing my time, my own time. I have 5 mentees under me right now. Currently, I honestly mentor anybody who comes to me. So personally, I feel like I have more, but assigned to my name, 5. Who falls under that? I don't know. Just whoever calls me, And so that's what I do outside of now being retired from the Air Force.
Gotcha. And so this kind of brings up those why questions I mentioned earlier. So, when you don't have to be doing this, they're not paying you.
No.
What do you get out of it? What's your motivation for having these mentees under you, for leading still? Why are you still interested in this?
Well, see, just like when I was in the Air Force, I was serving. I was a servant, being able to go and help others. Just like when I played sports in high school, middle school, I was, helping the team. You know what I mean? I didn't play any individual sports. I played team sports because I like to help, be a part of something. So when I felt myself lacking and missing that, when I became retired and when I had my accident, I had to find some way to get back to it. And so one day, and this all, is wrapped together, but one day I'm at church and a young lady asked me, she says, I see you walk around all the time. And this was after my accident. I see you walk around all the time and you're like, I never see you angry. Like you're okay. You smile when everybody's talking to you and stuff. But you can't see, you can't drive. You're walking around, but you're barely walking because I had to learn how to walk all over again. And as I'm sitting there listening to her, I start smiling again. And she was like, "See, there you go again. You're smiling." And I'm pointing out all the negative stuff. I said, "That's because I never gave up." I said, "The thing is, I might have lost my sight, but I didn't lose my vision. And the vision was always to help others." And as soon as I said that to her, she bursted out in tears. She was like, that just made it, the perspective anyway, that just made it that much more empowering because it was never about you. And that's her telling me that. It was never about you. I was like, no, I mean, I could have made it about me, but how far would I have gotten? And so that's the thing. When you go into the military, eventually you got to go from being that junior guy to now you got to lead people. You have people up under you. You got to lead. And so you can't be one of these junior guys in a leadership role. They won't, trust me. They'll figure it out because they'll kick you out. And so that was what it was all about. I have to find a way to get me back into that brother sisterhood or some way of helping people, which is what I do now in like the motivational speaking role, the keynote speaking role, the trusted mentor role, the resilience coaching. Like that's what I get into now. So.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great line.
Yeah, thank you.
You lost your sight, but now your vision. That's yeah. As soon as you said that, I felt that.
Thank you.
If you don't mind me asking, could you walk me through the details of your accident? I don't want to, I don't want to get too negative here, but just for the sake of the context, what happened? What was the extent of the damage?
Yeah, no, this is what I am here for. First of all, purpose. My purpose, the reason I'm still here is to be talking about this. So this is not something that bothers me. Yes, it is like emotionally draining when I talk about it because I go back and relive it, but it is why I'm still here. So I don't have a problem talking about it. And I'll take you right back to that day. I know the exact date and time, May 5th, 2017. It was just after lunch because I had just had lunch with a friend of mine and I went to go get my motorcycle because I wanted to ride my bike that day, first and foremost, because it was really nice. It was, like I said, May 5th. I live in North Carolina. At the time, I was in Durham, North Carolina, where I'm actually born. I was born and raised. So I was there, but I had a business called Kiwi Enterprise where I did website design and management, social media marketing, and photography for small businesses. But I had also took over the website functionalities and everything for my church. And I would go look at the church website. I'm like, ooh, they need to update their photos. We're going to start there first off. And so my job that day, May 5th, was to go take photos of the church because I would have to work for the military that weekend. So I would go take those photos, get all of the ones that I was looking to get. And then I was going to, that weekend, I was going to edit the photos and add them to the website to update it while I'm also updating the website. Because it was like one of those ones that you got like a template. Like you look like a template was up there and you just put a picture. That's basically what it looked like. And I wanted to, make it look personalized. You know what I mean? So I took the photos. But the thing about that day is that from my apartment to where the church was was only about 10 minutes of a ride. And the reason I say about is for anybody who rode or rides motorcycles, you understand it was probably shorter because those bikes can get on down the road. Okay. And I said, I can't put this bike right back up. I just pulled it out. That was a, waste of time basically. So I said, you know what? I know I can go. I can go to the lake. So I'll go to this lake here in North Carolina called Jordan Lake. And from my church to the lake is about 30 minutes of a ride one way. And I said, yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go there. I'll be able to go relax, unwind, do a little bit of meditation, just kind of zone out for a little bit before I have to go to work. And it's a really great place to go for me anyway. But anyway, for those who see or purchase the cover or purchase my book, you'll see on the cover, there is a motorcycle and then the backdrop of like trees, a little deck / dock or however you want to call it, a little bit of water and some rocks. And that's the lake that I was at. The reason that I know that is because I took that picture. Like I mentioned, I was a photographer. I took that photo. And that was actually where I went to go sit. That motorcycle that's on my cover is my actual bike that I had the accident on. That's not one I found on Google or wherever you find your images at, Pexel, wherever. I took that picture, and that's Nina. That's what I call my bike, Nina. So everybody can say bye-bye to Nina. She's gone now. But anyway, I had the cover designer stitch those together because those would be my last two, basically, memories. That lake and my bike. And so I am headed now. Now I'm getting ready to head back because I got to go to work. Like I told you already, I got to go grab my bag for the weekend with my clothes and stuff in it, and also change clothes. And so, anywho, I'm riding out, and as I'm riding down the street, I had Bluetooth capability in my helmet. And I was listening more than likely, because this is 2017, I'm more than likely listening to Bruno Mars for all my Bruno Mars fans. That 24 Karat Magic CD had came out not too long before that time frame. And I'm pretty sure I was jamming out to it. And just vibing out, man. And so this road that I'm on, it's like a back highway. So you're probably familiar with like country back highways and stuff. But like Highway 751 is what this one is called. And along this highway in North Carolina, we got these really tall trees. So it was really tall trees on both sides, unless there's like an intersection, driveway entrance, or like maybe a gas station. Every so often a gas station will pop up just for that back road. So those are the only times there are no trees. Well, I'm riding along, and at an intersection, a silver Honda Accord would pull out in front of me. Why, I don't know. And I'll give you that take in just a second. Because, like I told you, at these intersections, the trees are cut back so that you can see what's coming down the road, because it's only a 2-lane highway. There's the lane that I'm in and the lane that's coming past me. That's it. There's no merge in lane, none of that. So back to why in the world would he pull out in front of me? I have no clue. Because the two cars that were behind him on the police report stated that they saw me coming. So they don't know why he didn't. Now, back to where I am on the road. I have 3 options now that this car is freaking pulled out in front of me. Because what am I to do? Okay, well, I could have went right and went into the trees, like I told you all about. I could have went left and now go into the oncoming traffic because there's another lane here. Or I could do what ended up happening and freeze up and hit him. because who's expecting a car to pull out in front of you? You know what I mean? Especially when you can see me coming.
Yeah.
And so I would, of course, hit the car. I have no recollection of the actual impact because that I hit so hard. I mean, I was running 55 miles an hour on this back highway. And so I would hit so hard that it literally, hear me clearly, it literally crushed my face in. I now have two metal plates in my head. So I don't know if you can see this curve right here, like a groove.
Yeah.
That's a metal plate.
Wow.
Yeah. That is a metal plate right there. And so at the roof of my mouth, there's another one that's kind of making it go back out, like outward. So they had to come in through my face and do all that. But they also cut me from ear, literally from ear all the way across to the other ear to release swelling on my brain.
Man.
I had my right eye was popped out because the bottom eyelid, I don't know if you could see it, but the bottom eyelid was torn off, and they would take a skin grafting from my left clavicle, which is your collarbone area, to recreate it. My jaw was broken. I mean, you probably can't tell now because I've been through, the different occupational therapies to actually get it back to where it is now. But I do have a little bit of trouble every now and then. If I get too excited and I start talking really fast, you'll hear me either stutter or like stumble over a word. So that's because of the new pieces that are in my mouth. I had over $20,000 worth of damage done to my mouth, man. And that's after the insurance pays their part.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the cheapest part of this whole thing. And so from there, is that everything up top? Yeah. Okay. So my eyes, like I said, I am blind now. So there was a lot of scarring. I think it was due to the plexiglass of the face shield on the helmet. But also I have damaged blood vessels in my left eye. So I see absolutely zero in that eye. Out of my right eye, I could see a little bit of light perception. And that was the one that was popped out, crazily enough. I see a little bit of light perception, but it's got to be a super bright light, like the sunlight or those really annoying lights that they shine in your eye at the eye doctor. Yeah. Those. So that's up top. Now moving down to my midsection, nothing really happened to my arms. The only thing that I have a problem with is my index finger on my left hand. I have trigger finger. So if you see me cracking my knuckles a lot, or this one at least, in the throughout this episode, that's why. It's because it relieves pressure on that finger. Mm-hmm. And so now moving to my midsection, I have 2 rods and 12 screws in my spine to infuse my spine from L4 to T2 because it was broken. I'm just at, or shall I say above, that area where you start to move into paralyzation from your legs down. I am just above that. And so then I had some hip problems because I do have an incision on my left hip, on the outside of it, on the outside of your left thigh. I have an incision there. And then I broke my femur on my right leg, which is the largest bone in your body. So that's metal. My shin bone, which is your tibia, on my left leg is now titanium, literally from knee all the way to ankle. I fractured my right, I think it's my right fibula. I don't think they had to remove it, but I do know there's swelling, like a swelling over there. And it's very noticeable. It's not like minimal. It's very noticeable. And then on my right foot, I have a screw in it. And it swells up too. It's actually swelling right now as I'm sitting here talking to you. So, yeah, that's what happened to me. And I had to be life flighted from the scene of the accident to UNC Chapel Hill Hospital, and where I would spend the next 2 months. The first month, I have no recollection because I was in a medically induced coma the entire time. And in that second month, I was trying to figure out what was happening or what had happened to me, and now physical and occupational therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
what were the first moments when you come back awake? You know, you've been through this horrible accident.
Yeah.
You've been in a coma for a month. Were you able to accept right away that your whole life was different? Was it
Oh no.
No?
Oh no. The first thing I'm trying to figure out is, so I'm laying there in the bed, the hospital bed, but it's not a hospital bed to me because I think I'm in my bedroom at my apartment.
Oh yeah.
I'm literally thinking I'm waking up at home, man. Like, so when I came back conscious, shall I say, I felt like I was literally just waking up. It wasn't abrupt. It wasn't panic. It wasn't, well, anyway, not yet anyway. It wasn't like, it's a car in front of me. No, none of that crazy stuff you might see in a movie. You know, some movie scenes, like when somebody wakes up out of a really traumatic accident or something, they just start going crazy, heart rate going up, shooting up. None of that was happening to me. I just woke up like, wait a minute. I hear somebody talking. And so now I'm playing possum, and I'm sure you're familiar with possums. I'm playing possum, and I say, I hear somebody talking. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to listen. And so as I'm listening, I was like, okay, I recognize that voice. At the time, that was my girlfriend's voice. I said, I recognize that voice. Oh, I recognize that one too. It's my mom. Hold up. What is my mom doing in my bedroom? That's all I could think of. I was like, what are they doing? They trying to move me out of here or something? So now I'm just listening to the conversation they're having because I really want to know what's going on. I literally have not let them know that I'm awake yet. And as they're talking, they mentioned the motorcycle accident, but they don't mention who was in it. They're just talking about it. So it's all generalizations that they're now speaking in that term. And so it gets to a point where I'm tired of listening to this conversation and I want to know who it's about. So now I got to open my eyes, but I can't see anything. Yeah, no, I woke up like this. It wasn't gradual. Yeah. This was an instant I woke up with no sight. And I said, hold up, time out. Let's try to refresh this. And so I closed my eyes really hard, like I'm trying to get something out of it, basically. And I reopened them, and no, there's nothing going on. And then I go to speak. Remember, I told you my jaw was broken. Well, when your jaw's broken badly enough, they wire it shut. And when it's wired shut, you can't speak. There's no opening of the jaw whatsoever. Your teeth are clamped together. So I go to speak and I say, oh yeah, no, this is a nightmare. And now it's time to panic. You know, and they now are hearing me because, like I said, they're right there in the room. So they're now hearing me now. And they're like, uh-oh, what's going on? I'm doing my best to try to, say what's wrong with me or ask questions, but I can't say anything. Like in my mind, oh, you can hear me clearly. And in my head, you can hear me clearly. But I'm pretty sure on the outside, you're like, what are you saying? And so of course, it's not registering to me because I'm in a panic. Not one that I'm like throwing myself all over the place, but one that I'm just trying to find answers. And I'm doing my best with the whole murmuring, mumbling, however you want to call it, thing. But my mom is like, no, hold on. And I said, okay. And so then she comes back. She said, here. I'm like, what? She's like, hold your hands out. And so I put my hands out. And she puts a notepad and a pen in my hand. And I gave her the meanest side eye you could give somebody. I was like, really? Like, what? Are you serious? How am I supposed to write? You know I can't see. She's like, but you been doing it. Just try. I said, what? I've been doing what? I just woke up, didn't I? But apparently my subconscious had been able to function just enough, but not enough for me to remember. Wow. Medicine is crazy. Just like y'all know, it's crazy. So anyway, I go to try to scribble on this notepad. Luckily, I write pretty well, and I'm doing my best in not writing over top of stuff. And I hand her the notepad back, and it reads, "What is this motorcycle accident dream you all keep talking about?" And she's like, yeah, that's not a dream. That's what happened to you. And man, if there's a true feeling of a ton of bricks hitting you, I think that's it. I really do, because I didn't know what to do. Forget knowing what to say. I didn't know what to do at that point. And I have to say it that way. I could be as cute and grammatically correct as you want me to be. I ain't know what to say. I'm going to say it incorrectly as possible, because that's really how I felt. I don't know what to do in life. Now that you just told me this whole situation is about me that I've been listening to y'all talk about, I really feel like life is basically over, because everything I did required eyesight. The in-flight refueling, the instructing it, because I was an instructor as well. So I taught it. The business that I had, website design. You think you can do that without sight? Have fun, okay? Social media marketing. Well, that changes all the time. So I need to know what social media actually looks like in order to see how to advance yours to make it, better. Photography. What? I can do that with my eyes closed all day, right? No. And then I was also going to school full time. I was in college. I was enrolled in college, dude, at the same time. Everything was at the same time. Wow. But one accident, just one, ended all of it. So yeah, man, that's how I woke up.
Man, frankly, that's hard for me to hear. I can't even imagine living through it. And so take me through the progression since then. You said you woke up, you ain't know what to do. And, but you've come along, you've written a book since then. You've got 40 podcast book this week. You're mentoring people. So what was your process of finding what to do? What was your process of redefining your purpose, of discovering a new path?
Yeah. So over time, of course, because like I say, May 5th of this year, 2025 will make 8 years since my accident. So those first like 2, maybe even 3, 27. Yeah, those first 2 years, I'm just trying to figure out me. I'm literally trying to figure out me, figure out what do I do? Honestly, what do I do now? I honestly need to know how to be now a blind person, because I'm 100% blind. I'm not partial. I'm not slowly deteriorating. No, this is waking up, no sight. Just imagine you went to sleep one night, woke up, and you could not see that next morning. That's basically what it felt like to me. I didn't know I was out for a whole month, but it didn't matter how long I was out, because either way, the sight wasn't coming back. Yeah. And I wasn't being prepared while I was asleep or anything. It was like they were downloading. This wasn't the Matrix. They didn't download some software into my head. Oh, now I know how to be a blind man. No, that's not how that worked. It took years. And I'm still learning, because things keep changing. As long as we have technology and AI, I will always be learning, because I still have to learn how to get on these calls. I still have to learn how to run my own business. I mean, every day I'm learning. And so those first 2 years, I was learning just how to become blind. And like I say, I still am. But those are my first, I guess you say, 2 hardest years. Those were the hardest, because it was a complete transition process. And so, as well as the strengthening, like learning how to walk. It took me from June until October of 2017 to be fully walking by myself. And I wasn't like the strongest walker. I was just walking without having to use a wheelchair, having to use a walker, or having to use a support cane. That was all I was trying to do, is get rid of those three. Now, if I took a bad step, I might have tumbled, but thank God I never did, you know? So, speeding up. Well, if you move forward to that 2019 year, that was my first year, doing speaking, getting into motivational speaking. How I came into that. Glad you asked. So, I came into that because people kept telling me, everybody I talked to, whether it was friends, families, coworkers, whoever that would listen to me, said, man, you got to tell your story. You got to continue to tell your story. Then it was, man, you should write a book about this. And I'm like, I wasn't the best English student. I mean, I probably averaged like a C plus in English. I don't know if they want to see me right. I don't know. I don't know if they want to see me right. I didn't major in English. I love computers. And so it was one of those. And I love math too. When I was in school, math was my thing, not English. Okay. And so, what I did do was I listened though, because what they were saying was true. It's powerful. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how. There's always a way. I mean, we know the cliche, where there's a will, there's a way. We understand that. But finding the way is the true task. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I had. I had to find it. I'm 100% blind. Most people don't know what the heck to do. And I'm like, do y'all know how to do? They're like, I mean, I don't know how. I ain't never done that. Like, you know, stuff like that. So, and I'm like, I'm going to have to figure this out on my own. So I asked my cousin Google. You got a cousin Google? I got a cousin Google. Yeah. I asked my cousin Google. I said, Google, how do I become a speaker? I said, Google, how do I write a book? And things came up. But because I was determined and consistent and dedicated to do these things, that's why they happened. And then that would, of course, turn into me doing multiple speaking engagements, finally getting my book published after I learned how to get used to a computer again, because I knew how to use a computer before I lost my eyesight. Now it's time to learn how to use it without. So I'm having to use these softwares that they add to the computer for it to talk to you. You know, like for example, I'm using this desktop computer via JAWS, which is JAWS stands for Job Accessibility Workstation, I believe. And then with Apple products, they use VoiceOver, so that it literally voices over whatever you're, on, like your mouse might be on, or your, I forget, the cursor might be on, whatever it is. And so that's how I navigate things. The same way with my phone. I navigate with my iPhone via VoiceOver. And so I had to go to school to learn all this stuff at the Blind Rehab Center that the VA offers, which is great. I listen, again, if I'm not learning, I'm now declining. I'm not getting any better in this world that's forever changing and at a fast rate. And so I would, of course, like I say, start doing more speaking engagements. Then I had my book. I published it. I did a, what do you call it? A book signing. I did a book signing when I first released my book. And now I carry them with me everywhere I go. When I speak, I offer them, hey, I have books for sale. I have merchandise for sale, that type of thing. And then, now even with the Zoom, because, when we hit the pandemic, Zoom was I had to pivot because I wasn't able to hit stages because they shut everything down. And people were now scared of, being around one another. So I pivoted, used Zoom, and I'm still making money doing that. I was still making money doing that, which is great. It was a blessing. And I just had to learn if you are dedicated, persistent, and just willing to try something, you can succeed. But if you just sit back and hope for the best, I'm just going to hope for the best. Well, keep hoping and keep hope alive because that's all you're going to hear. Keep hope alive because you just keep hoping, brother. God, if you don't put any faith in or works into your faith, nothing's going to happen. But now I speak, I mentor, I'm coaching. I mean, and it's not just a business. It's not just a job. It's not just a task. It's something I actually love doing. Man, when I hear from literally, was it last week? Yeah, last week. One of my mentees was at a competition, an adaptive sports competition. And he sends me a picture. And I started to say something. I started to say, why are you sending me pictures knowing I can't see? That's what I started to say. But my phone, the technology and AI in the phones are advancing so much that it was actually telling me what was going on in that picture. That's crazy. It actually told me there was a person standing there smiling, holding up a medal. And I was like, hold up. What is this medal for? And he responded saying, hey, man, I medaled in, I think it was tandem or in cycling. Yeah, recumbent cycling. That's what it was. He medaled in recumbent cycling. And I said, go ahead, let's go, man. That's what I'm talking about. And when you are happy for your mentees, the people that are under you, just as happy as I would be for myself, man, like that tells me that this is, again, not just for me, first and foremost, but I'm excited for you because you can still do things. Like that's the whole purpose of what I do and why I do it. I want you to understand you can still go out here and do things.
Man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just from a technical question, how do you write a book? Do you type? Do you speak and have it transcribed? Like, what's your process like for writing a full book? That's a pretty daunting task for anyone,
Daunting is the right word. So after I went to my blind rehab center, they gave me a desktop computer, and I would have lessons on like how to type, like your home row, your numbers, like, just like your basic keyboarding skills. And they would, of course, already teach me how to use, they would also be teaching me how to use the computer, like how to open Word, how to do this. And there are these things called keyboard shortcuts. So I no longer have to use a mouse. Everything I need is right there on the keyboard for me because there's these keyboard shortcuts. I can do a combination of keyboard commands and it'll do things for me. And so once they taught me all of that, well, now it's go time. You just got to sit there and go. So if I were to give you a day in the life of Kiwi, when it came to writing that book, it was wake up, wash your face, brush your teeth, eat breakfast. If my back is hurting or if I'm tired, I would lay down just for a little bit. Don't lay down too long because then it'll get you out of your mood that you're ready to go. But I would, take my medicine, jump up, and I'm going straight to that computer for at least 2 hours, at least. Then I'm going to eat lunch. And I'm going to come right back to that computer. And usually by the time I get off the computer that second time, I used to live with my grandmother, and By the second time when I'm getting off that computer, my grandmother's walking through the door from work. That was the end of my work day too. I didn't want to burn myself out because that's one of the things that people do. They tend to get so laser focused on something that they don't realize how much time has passed or, oh, I got to get this done. I want to do it in record. I'm not about record setting anything. Okay. The record is getting it out there. Now it's on record. That is what it's about. Not beating somebody's time. Listen, hey, I'm here not to kill myself, but to improve myself. so that was literally a day, like Monday through Friday. I didn't do the weekends. I didn't write my book on the weekends just to give myself a break and keep my mind kind of fresh. Because like I said, when I started typing that book is about, just a little bit before the accident. And then everything else is about my what happened after the accident from my point of view. So when I was writing that, the chapters were so emotionally like attached to me that I could not keep pushing and push, because that would have made me feel really drained. Like I told you before, I would have been so emotionally drained, I wouldn't have wanted to keep going. So you have to give yourself those breaks in order to be like, okay, I can do another day. Okay, I can do another day. Like that. So.
Super cool.
Yeah.
All right, this is a hypothetical question. So it's, just in general, I'm curious, do you think that your accident and sort of the course change that you had to go through in life, do you think that may have opened up the door to make a bigger impact than you would have on the path that you were headed? Do you think that writing the book and doing the podcasts in some ways enhanced your abilities to make a change in the world and to inspire people?
I'm definitely making more of an impact because this is what I do is international. What I was doing for the military, it's international. Yes, it serves a purpose, but at the end of the day, it's about keeping a dominance for one spot. And that was the U.S., keeping that military dominance, that presence, all that stuff. That's really what it was about. For me, with my business that I have now, man, listen, this is about, like I told you in the beginning, and I'm going to keep saying it, it's way bigger than me. This is not just about me. This is about how my story can help you. How my mentoring can help you, how my coaching can help you. I'm not out here to bluff anybody. No. This is everything I speak from is experience. I don't know any other way to talk. I've never been trained any other way, because when you start, even when it came to writing my book, they said, don't erase all the fluff. It's too much fluff in there. And I said, fluff? I was just telling what happened. They were like, but yeah, it's fluff. People are not going to want to read it. And I was like, okay. I even erased it in the book. So why would I want to speak it? You know what I mean? So if it's that serious for me to get it out of a book, because I wanted to make the book thicker, but it doesn't have any, what do they call it? Any value. Fluff, there's no value in fluff. So I said, if there's no value there, I want what makes value. What makes me more valuable? That's what I want, And so my whole purpose now, especially, is just to be able to reach those, man, and anybody, because everybody goes through something, hardships, adversities, indifferences, everything. My goal is to hopefully change lives, but just mainly better them. I just want you to be able to hear something from me and be like, shoot, why didn't I think of that? Or shoot, man, that's perfect. I can use that on a daily basis. You know how people create vision boards? I want you to put so many different quotes that I've ever said on your vision board. That's what I'm hoping. And they help you, not just so you can have something written up there. I want it to help. So, yep.
I love it, man. What would be your advice to someone who has an idea for a book, or maybe has wanted to write a book, but has never started? You know, they're held up by whatever it is. Maybe they're anxious about it. Maybe they don't feel confident that they have something valuable to share, but they want to do it. What would be your advice? Since I've done these podcasts with a number of authors, and it's a question I've asked a few people now.
Yeah, no, I'm going back to my experience. Mm-hmm. It took me about 2 to 3 years to even start on my book. So I know what you're saying when you ask that question. Mindset is the first thing. Get your mind ready to write this book, because it's going to take time. It's going to take dedication. You're going to, and if you have a busy schedule, you're going to have to carve time out. So just like we're carving time out for this recording, you have to carve time out for your book. Nothing else can, jump in the way of that. Not a phone. Put your phone on do not disturb. Tell your kids to go outside. Just those types of things. Hey, I'm going to take the kids to grandma's. I'll be right back. And then when I come back, I'm going to need about an hour or two to write on the book. Stuff like that. So you have to change the mindset. Get the mindset right first. And then if you've never written a book, like I had never written a book, seek help. I went through a self-publishing school, which is actually called Self-Publishing School. Self-publishingschool.com is, I believe, the website. And so, trust me, I'm not getting any commissions off of this. I'm just telling y'all that's what I did. And they have a course curriculum with the readings as well as videos. They give you a coach, one-on-one coach, and then they have group coaching calls as well if you want to ask more questions throughout the week. They put you a part of a Facebook group, so if you have different questions you want to throw in the Facebook group for such as myself, different people in there, even just authors who've already written their book, they can respond. Oh, yeah, this is what I did. Oh, this is what happened to me. Oh, yeah, with the reviews, you should probably do this. All these different things. And then they give you a Rolodex. And for those who don't know what that means, basically it means a number of contacts for you to reach out to, whether it's editing, whether it's book formatting, whether it's cover designs, like all of that. If you needed a ghostwriter, all of that. I didn't use a ghostwriter. I wrote my own book. But if you are just too busy and you can't do it, find somebody. It can be done. That's for sure. So, and I, when it came to actually publishing, did I find that? I'm trying to remember if I found this through an offline source or through self-publishing school, but I also got my book in an audio version. And I can't remember if I did that through them or offline, but anyway, I published it on Amazon. And because publishing there is free, of course, when the book sells, whatever sale it makes, they get a commission. But to publish it on Amazon is free. But yeah, that's how they make their money, is through the sale. But yeah, that's how I did it. I
love it. So that was kind of for the people ready to write a book. And now I'll ask a question more for myself, since I actually I finished up the first draft of my book end of last year. I've gone through one round of edits, but I plan on releasing it sometime before the end of the year. I've recorded an audiobook. I'm actually doing a podcast in a couple of weeks with an audiobook expert who's going to help me do a better draft, since I don't love the quality of the audio. But can you walk me through the publishing aspect a little bit? And then what I'm really curious about is, excuse me, with a lot of these things, there's you put yourself out there and unexpected attention, unexpected opportunities come at you. I'm curious, what did you expect when you published your book? And then what kind of, what's come about it? What's been your experience as a published author, since that book? And especially the unexpected stuff. So first of all, what are your tips for publishing? That's more of a pragmatic question. And then, a little more, on the general side, what's been your experience as a published author? What's kind of come your way in the wake of publishing your book?
Okay. Yeah. So experience on publishing, first and foremost, before you ever publish, make sure, and I say this because I wanted my book to be, I don't think there's a such thing as a flawless book, because everybody can point something out about a book that you're like, oh, I don't like this, but make sure you like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So first things first, you do your editing. Not just you, get a professional editor. I'm telling you, they know what the heck they're doing. Because I thought I did, but nowhere near it. Get you a book formatter, because they're going to understand the genre. They're going to understand your book size. Like literally the size of the printed version makes a difference in certain genres. I didn't know that until I talked to a book formatter. They're going to help you with your manuscript and everything. And then the cover designer. Now, cover designer, personally, the ones I used, they were great. But what you have to do is be very detailed with them. Because I got one draft back from the cover design. I said, hey, what does it look like? They was like, I don't really know. Like, it looks like your motorcycle is about to go into heaven. I said, that is not what I asked them to do. I was like, that is not even what I asked them to do. So be very thorough and detailed with what you want these people to do, because you're paying them. First and foremost, you're paying them to do the work. So until they're literally finished with the work, they are on the hook. So you want the best quality of everything, first and foremost. And then you look at to publishing. Again, publishing is not that hard, especially for sighted folks. For me, it was a little rough, because I was like, I can't see what you're asking me to look for, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I went through that school, because they had everything listed out that I needed to do step by step, like what I needed to do. And so when I did finally self-publish, before I self-published, I think it was about 2 weeks. I had people, what do you call it? It's called a book something list, a book launch list. Mm-hmm. And you create a list of people that you're going to give basically, a free copy of the book, like not paperback, but electronic version. And what happens is, this is a sneak peek, guys. This is behind the scenes that I learned in the school. You give them this list of people, that sneak peek of the book. They go and they can review the book. And as soon as your release date hit, they go and review. Bow, 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 bow. Shooting your book up the ranks. So you get that book launch review. And then, so when my book comes out, everybody's like, dang, you already have 30-something reviews. And they're 5 stars. Man, these are some great reviews. And I'm like, oh, yeah, thank you. But it's stuff like that actually helps those people's books shoot up. And unless you're some famous person, you got to have some kind of trick to help you out. But after the book was finally released, and now I'm a speaker, I'm a motivational and keynote speaker and all these different things. And they're like, oh, okay, well, nice that you speak and stuff. Do you have any products? I said, well, I have a book. I am an author. Like, oh, okay. So it's another speaking point. It's another item to sell, so you can make more money off of it. It also puts you in a different category. When you are just a speaker, there's one thing. But when you're a speaker, an author, this, that, you start adding to your resume. That's basically what you're doing. And I'm not saying go out here and write 12 books just because. I'm saying write some thoughtful and methodical books. So that's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah, super cool. That kind of behind that question, I've done a few interviews recently with authors, several of which went through a company called $1 Million Author. But their whole,
I've heard of them.
Yeah, their whole premise is that the book is the modern day business card. So a lot of these authors are really speakers. They're really coaches. They're consultants. And the $1 Million Author program, it's less about the actual book sales and more about leveraging the book as a resume item, as a business card to help grow your brand, help get more clients, more gigs, whatever they're looking for. Yep. So that was just a whole different way of thinking about it. Since I don't know, I love books, but I always thought like there's authors and readers, but then there's a whole different world to it, and it opens up a whole new world for those who get through the whole process.
Yeah.
All right, and then so towards the end of these conversations, I like to ask about the future. Did you refer to yourself as Kiwi? Is that what your friends call you? So yeah.
Well, that's it originated from my family. Mm-hmm. My great aunt gave me that name as a child, but it somehow followed me into the military. No joke, man. So I can give you a little bit of insight to that.
What's Kiwi? What's Kiwi's objectives going forward? What's Kiwi looking at down the pike? Yeah.
So first off, how I got that name and how it's still chasing me is because in the military or especially on the air crew side, you ever seen Top Gun?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So Maverick and all those guys, that's their call sign. That's not their real name. And so that's an aircrew terminology. Call sign is an aircrew terminology. So they wanted to find me a call sign when I finished boom school. And they were like, well, you got any cool nicknames or anything? I said, Key? It was like, nah, that's too plain. I said, why? Why can't I be the key that unlocks everything? And they're like, nah. And then I was like, KJ? He's like, nah, definitely not. I said, come on now. I was like, well, okay, let's see. Kiwi? He was like, yeah, Kiwi. I said, no, time out. I didn't say that. Go back. I didn't say that. Like I was trying my best to get out of that. Hey, man, he typed it in and hit print. I said, dang it. So that's how that story began. And I am still today, literally, even after retirement, known as Kiwi to my military personnel and comrades. So Kiwi also, if you get my book, I sign I kind of write my book almost like a letter to the reader. I kind of use like that military play. So in the military, in boot camp, you write letters, home. So a lot of times now they call, but you write letters when you get a chance. And even when you're deployed, maybe if you don't have the capability to call, you'll write, And so I kind of did that kind of play on the book. I wrote basically letters to the reader, and I signed it Kiwi. So it's in the book too. So that's how the name came about. Now for the future, let's move on to the future. Kiwi is going to forever be a speaker, an advocate, a catalyst. Just passionate for growth first and foremost, and just somebody who's going to be there to stand up and stand out in the lineup and say, hey, I'm not afraid to say something. Hey, I'm not afraid to be that motivator. Hey, I'm not afraid to be that inspiring force. I'm also not going to be afraid to help someone, to help the person that nobody else wanted to help. Well, why is it that they don't want to help you? What's going on with you? I want to ask you the question. Why don't they want to be your mentor? Why won't they coach you? Make you better. If we're not making each other better, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So my future is to continue doing what I'm doing in speaking, in mentoring, and in coaching. Everybody wants me to write another book. And as I just said, that task is daunting. So you have to really want to stare down that barrel, of writing a book. And somebody's already given me another title. Like they already throwing titles at me. Like it's so funny. I love my fans. I don't like to call them fans, but I mean, that's the actual term that people use. So I love them. And I wish I, could do way more for them because I feel like without them, there is no me. In a sense, there is no Kiwi. There is no Kijuan, the motivational speaker. There is no the excuse destroyer because that's another term or name that I've been labeled now, the excuse destroyer. And so the future is bright for me. And I know it is. And I'm trying my best. I'm sorry, I have to rewind because I once heard someone say that if you use the word try, it leaves room for failure. So I am doing my best to prepare myself for the future.
Man, that's awesome. Yeah, well, keep doing it because it's definitely inspirational from this side of the Riverside chat room here.
Thank you.
And for what it's worth, of all the labels you mentioned, I like catalyst. That's you just kind of mentioned that. It was kind of just a subtle detail, but it stood out to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Kiwi. Where can people find you? I'll include all the links below in the description everywhere this is posted, but you've got your book. If someone's interested in reaching out to you, getting a hold of you, you said you don't use social media. Do you email? What's the best way for people to track you down?
So you can find me at my website, ameymotivation.com. That is AMEY motivation.com. On there, you can find my book link. You can also, which is titled Don't Focus on Why Me, From Motorcycle Accident to Miracle. That book can also be found and searched on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, as well as Apple Books. And like I said, I do have the audio versions for those who like to listen to the book. As far as my social media handles, I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I do have a YouTube, but I don't really do much with it right now. So I mean, you feel free, but all you have to do is search my first and last name and it should pop up. Kijuan Amey, and that's KIJUANAMEY. And you should see all of those pop up. So if you like to follow me, feel free. And then last but not least, on my website, you can also book me for a speaking engagement, a conference, an event, what have you. Feel free to get in touch with me and I'll get back in touch with you.
Awesome. Thanks again. I'll have all those links in the description everywhere this is posted. I'll also make a post on my Instagram. So for anyone who follows my pages, you'll see that on my Instagram, and I'll be sure to tag your page in everything I post from this conversation. Thanks for reaching out again. And yeah, this was really cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.